you doing? Let's see what we got tonight. We're gonna see if we're gonna do it right. Had a great time last night. People came through. Uh, great commentary. Um, you know, what's up? How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Glad you're the first one in line. Um, what's happening? How you do? Let's see what's up. I don't mind. I don't mind as long as you come through. Um, glad you're coming through. Do it. I'm doing all right. How you doing? Well, just chilling, staying warm. How about yourself? All right. Well, I hope you're better though. Remember I talked about that. You know. No, it's not a little bit late because actually, I sometimes I tend to do around this time. Some nights it's a little bit earlier. Depends on uh when I get on. Actually, last night, if you go by the time last night, it was only about 15 minutes earlier. So it's actually in accordance. Um, yeah. So that's what happened. Sometimes it's around this time, you know, depends, but that's all. But anyway, glad you're doing good. I just hope that, like I said before, that, everything is okay because you got to be very careful with the doctors and stuff. No, I didn't. No. Let's see what I'm doing right here. What the heck did I do? Anytime. What they did to me is that messed up my account thing. I gotta get some straight. Keep on talking. I'm listening. Keep on talking. Gotta figure this thing out. What's kind of funny? How they mess me up on YouTube? What you mean? Tell me what you're talking about. I don't know what that means with David Porter or who that is. I don't know. Nah, nah, nah. Ain't nothing about YouTube. Yeah, my YouTube stuff straight. I'm good on YouTube. There's something else I'm talking about, but I'm good on YouTube. I'm good on YouTube. Wait a minute. Trying to see something. No. And I'm not gonna that's typical. That ain't nothing new. They all do it. I mean, you asking me. No. Let's see. I don't know. I have nothing to do with that over here. I don't know anything about what they, because again, that's kind of foreign to my situation. Just all due respect, I don't know. I don't know. Do I think they can win what? Do I think they can win what? They got eliminated. They got eliminated. They lost the series, man. Yeah, they're done. No, they got beat last night. They're knocked out. Um, they lost 4-1. Hold on just a second. My NBA of Mount Rushmore. Um, that's hard to say. I mean, that's hard to say because it changes, and well, it depends on what the Lakers want to do. I mean, they have to make moves. They don't have the talent. The Lakers don't have they have to make a lot of moves. There's a big difference when you're trying to win a championship and when you're just playing to be in something and you got to hope things go. I mean, you lose to the same team in 2 years and they beat you 8 games to 1. You're not that good. You're not championship worthy. I don't care if they do or they don't. That's not really my concern because they're not that good. I'm not a Lakers fan, so and to be honest with you, Ted could tell you better. The problem that I see with them is that they don't really gel with him and AD. Too many things got to go a certain way for them to win, and they're not that good. So, you know, if I was a bet man, I don't think so. I don't. The Heat suck. That's why. That's my team. They suck. No Jimmy Butler. Um, no Terry Rozier. No scoring. And what happened was is that Boston made them play a half court brand of basketball. That's what happened. Turned them over. And then they beat them with White beat them. Let me get it straight. You gotta have the talent. Yeah, that might cost Boston. Hold up. You gotta have the talent. And if you don't have the talent, you're not gonna do much. See? Um People don't understand that to be successful, you gotta really have the talent. It takes talent to win these championships. It takes talent to be a great team, not just a team that stat pads and wins. You actually have to have talent. So replacing with what? They're not that deep. They that okay. So I guess I'll talk to you straight basketball now because I since you went there and I guess you got some now. Julius Randle is huge. The problem with them is they need another scorer. They don't have enough offensive firepower to win. Brunson's a great talent, and Randall, when he plays, can be very good to great, but they need another piece. That's their problem, really. They don't have enough offensive firepower. That's the problem. You know, when me and Ted get on here and tell you about cherry pickers or guys that can score, that's what they're missing. They need somebody that can score 25, 30 points. And then I think they could be a problem. The reason why they're beating Philadelphia is because Philadelphia doesn't have consistency after Maxey and Embiid. That's it. If Tobias Harris woke his butt up, Kelly Oubre could score because Lowry's too old. They get anything out of the third and fourth wheel, they beat the Knicks. No, they don't play no defense. Giannis is injury prone, and I don't know how well he is. Damian Lillard is just a one trick pony. No. Not when you struggling against Indiana, who don't play no defense. No, they need a score. They need a score because their defense did hold them to 90 points before they choked that last 20 seconds. It was 96-90. It's just that they don't have enough offense. Hear what I'm saying. They don't score enough points. They need another score in New York. And they ought to be embarrassed of themselves because they should have enough to beat the Pacers. They put up 115 with no Giannis, with no Dame. That should be enough to beat them. They shouldn't be struggling against a team that doesn't play defense. So that's on them. Nope. They too soft. Too soft. They need another. They need a superstar. They need somebody that could go there and let Donovan Mitchell score. I like Allen in the middle. You know, Turner's decent, but they're just not. They're not a team I take serious. I don't take them serious at all. When I was a kid back in the day, yeah, but he got to play better. He playing well, but he ain't playing great. They need him to play like a superstar. You see, when you get to this time, it's called money time. It's not pretty good time. It's not really good time. It's not very good time. You got to play great time. You gonna be a league MVP. You got a chip on your shoulder. You think you belong in the conversation with Noah Jokic. With Jokic, you think you a big baller. You tired of hearing about Boston. You got to step your game up. So until he steps up and plays out his mind, and they go crazy, yeah. So yeah, I saw about that. That happens quite a bit. I'm a real fan. You've never really seen my videos about Michael Jackson, so I guess you don't know. I've done a lot of conversations about Michael, but I don't know if I want to go see it because I don't know how good it's going to be. And with Michael Jackson, you need about 3 or 4 hours of a real movie. Yeah, I see that. I see that now. I didn't notice that because of the orange and the red. Okay, DP. Okay, the other DP. Yeah, that's cool. As long as you ain't the same person, we all good. Cause I don't be doing trolls and I don't do strolls. If you go see it, you're a real fan because you're gonna be curious about what they get right, what they don't get right. There will be some people who will be faking the funk. Um, you know, um, yeah, he's hurt. I think he got hurt feelings too because that team sucks. And Dame is not a good fit. Doc's not a good fit as a coach. So I think he got hurt feelings too. But Michael Jackson is a very polarizing figure for some because of different things. And I think that if you allow the music to do the talking, you'll see he's one of the most dominant artists ever, most dominant artists of my lifetime. And, I like Giannis a lot. I just don't like the way his choices are. He runs his coaches out, and I have a problem with him as his choices. I think he's right there after Jokic is the best player going, but I think he has to step his game up. He has to get back to fundamentals. Kawhi ain't coming back. Kawhi is done. He should retire. And I hate to say that, but it really ain't nothing there. He's one of those guys, if you didn't get to see him, I feel sorry for you. Who's still young? Who's still young? Who is still young? Kawhi won a league MVP, finals MVP in 2014. That's not young no more. That's 10 years ago. Do your math. And after he won in Toronto, he's been injury prone with the Clippers. That was 5 years ago. Do your math. What's up, Ted? Thank you for coming in. And please tell this one cat that Kawhi Leonard ain't hardly young no more. Please, Ted, tell him. The guy won a finals MVP 10 years ago and won a finals MVP 5 years ago. That's not young no more. He's injury prone. Doesn't make you true or not if you do or you don't. Kevin Love don't really play no more. Kevin Love play off the bench. Thank you, Ted. Thank you. Kevin Love is a shell of Kevin Love. Okay, and you're talking about almost 8 years ago when he won the finals in Cleveland. 2 years from it, and Miami's getting a guy that's got tired tread on them tires. He's not really playing at his apex. Kevin Love was, but that's a long time ago in the past tense. These 2 years coming up, 2 years from now, will be 10 years when Cleveland came back against Golden State. That's an older dude. And I don't know if he's got more than maybe a year or two left in the tank, if I'm honest. He didn't do much this year. He looked old in the playoffs this year. He looked pretty good for Miami last year. He had some good moments, had some great moments here and there, but pretty much. Thank you, Ted. I would, because they can't win a championship. And you stat padding for what? I mean, unless you playing for a title. Now, see, I think they got some people fooled out here thinking that only Denver's the only team that can beat them out in the West. I don't think so. I don't think they can match these young teams. That's all it is. I don't think they got any hind parts to mess with no OKC or Minnesota, no series. Not when these teams get some cooking this year. And they lost a series to Denver where they led 75% of the series. And Ted will verify and clarify. If LeBron was is what they say it is and Anthony Davis is, they would have won that series. So why didn't you? You lost 4 games last year. Oh yeah, I had to roast him. I told you I was coming with it. I told you I was coming with it. But I had fun with him because he's a comedian to me. Oh yeah. But they got to win multiple rings. And I think Jokic got a better track at it. I think Jokic can run the table this year, get a third league MVP, 2-time finals MVP, 2-time champion. Yeah, he'll be a lot closer. Giannis still got a chance, but Giannis got to flip the script. And it looked like he was going to be the one to do it earlier, but I don't know now. They're going through way too many coaches, the system, the style. I don't know. That's comical, but then again, it fits what I said about him being a comedian. Well, once you figure it out, it becomes like something you drink. It's like water. And I do think Jokic has got that potential to dominate, yes. And the scary part, Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., they got a scary front. And if everything rolls their way, excluding this year. He's probably got a couple more good cracks. Got a good chance to walk away with 2 to 3 chips. Hmm. Got the right coach, got the right mindset, and they will attract somebody that will play off the bench for them and be a good piece. All right, well, I'm saying prayers for you though, Dutch. Appreciate you coming through. But yeah, Jokic has got it though. He's got a potential. I think he got a better chance though now than Giannis does. Always appreciate you coming through, and you'll make it a little bit early tomorrow. Got a little carried away, but yeah, I hope you're feeling better though. Definitely got people better. Have a good night. Peace out. So yeah. We're gonna definitely keep this going. So we'll see what's up. Peace out, man. Peace out. Well, I told you already. Remember? What did I steer you wrong? See, unlike you, when you thought the Lakers was going 7, I never told you the Heat had a chance. I saw the writing on the wall. Without Jimmy Butler, Bam did what I wanted him to do. But there's no easy buckets when you don't have the talent. And the thing about it is that White came out and it was like it was a diss that your bench ain't that deep as you think it is. You really ain't that deep because White actually outscored Miami if you think about it. A 6 man outplayed him. Outplayed Tyler Hero too. You think I'd be hard on him? I say you gotta play up a certain way. You got and the thing is, you can't make those threes. You can't score. They are offensively limited. They're offensively. So what they got to do? I told you, they got to go find some scores. They need a legit player that can create points. They don't have that. Jimmy Buckets doesn't come to the postseason. Now, Bam player is mine. Bam is showing me something, but they got a lot of flaws. Defense is good, and they can play stud and hustle, and that goes good to get you to mediocrity because Spo can coach. But if you're trying to be a next level champ, see, they got spoiled and been hoodwinking people because they got the 2 finals out the last 4 years. And I understand that's greatness of Spo, along with people playing up and what they had. But they really aren't that type of talent. If it comes down to talent, they in trouble. And that's what happened in this series. It wasn't even close. Now, the only thing for Boston is they had those sleepy type games. Play against a team that catch you napping, that's a 7 game series. That's the difference right there. But they beat a Heat team they're supposed to. So we got a lot of work to do. Got to make some moves. And quiet as it's kept, it's not so quiet. You got to find a legit 1-2 punch. Because I just don't think Jimmy's, I just don't like where it's going. So, that the whole series was brutal. After the first game, aside from the second game, everything else was brutal. And I knew it was coming. See, before I'm a real one about anybody else's team, I'm a real one about my team. I ain't gonna lie and sugarcoat it. You don't have what it takes. They need a superstar, they need a bench, and they need they got to get back to Heat culture. You're not a 3-point shooting team like that. That's only gonna get you so far. It becomes gimmicky. Gotta live and die by what you do. You need to shoot the three, but you got to also play inside out, and you got to get easy buckets. And that's the problem. There are no easy buckets with them. Yeah, what's up? Well, I take that seriously because they remove themselves from it. And that's one of the problems. They're bread and butter. They bust your butt. They play hard. They get physical. They get at you, but you got to also create opportunities. They don't create enough offensive opportunities. I don't care how conditioned and wind springs you run and all that and crazy eights. You got to make some. There was no easy points in this series. They were outmanned. They were out hustled. They out worked. They got out tough. Jason Tatum was right. There is no. So okay. So you want me to address this about Farrakhan? You want me to address this one for you? I mean, you want me to address it about him? If you want me to, say yes, and I will. I'll put this in perspective. The best way I know how. About okay. I had a lot of respect for him. Very talented musician, very articulate, well mannered, groomed, etc. Well groomed dude. No Diddy. I have to say that because that's what we say nowadays. If you're going to talk about another man, you're a hetero man and you got to say no Diddy. However, good friend of mine who knew Denzel Washington said he felt Farrakhan had a hand in the assassination of Malcolm. I'm sure you've heard that too. He always got me rubbed the wrong way with his association with Ja Rule and 50 and all these rappers and all this thing and how he certain things he did. So Elijah Muhammad did work with Hoover, and Farrakhan was a right hand man. And I do believe there is a tax write off. Much as I talk about black ministers and how they get tax deducted with Trump suckering up and Biden and all that, and Jesse Jackson and Reverend Al Sharpton and all that, and you see TD Jakes with Puffy and all that, and you obviously see their white counterparts with Joel Osteen. Well, they're all in on the same bed. So I do believe Farrakhan, he's not the he talks and articulate and all that, but yeah, I do believe all that. I do believe it's undercover. Because if he was really a threat to white America and to the government, etc., the Million Man March was allowed and all that, but there's something that doesn't quite add up. Doesn't quite add up. I remember he did that video with R. Kelly and then he said, well, what's going on with him and all that. The way he said it, he's a little too invested in the culture of entertainment of black. And I got to kind of wonder about that. Well, that wouldn't make him undercover with that because it's politics. And politics is politics. Even though I remember, was it, who was it that was trying to get some money sent and Clinton told him no. And it was association through that. But would I be surprised with that? Not really. Not really. But that's not what makes him undercover. What makes him undercover is his association with all these people that are part of the criminal enterprise with hip hop. And knowingly, and obviously it's a connection pipeline. That's what undercover comes in, not his association with these politicians, because believe it or not, there's not much that really separates them. Oh, yeah, that's old. That's old. He was hanging out with Cosby at the Playboy Mansion late 60s, early 70s. That's old. Jesse turned tricks too. That's old. Bought and paid for. You have to Google it. There's a story about some white dude, Jesse's story. You have to Google it. Jesse's son got locked up, but you notice that was low key. Jesse ain't never been touched, but Jesse done had children out of wedlock. Jesse done had some stuff. Used to work on CNN. He had pool. Jesse always with entertainers all around. Except for one thing, Ted. It's not undercover. Who told you it was undercover? You see, when I can see you frontline, hook, line, and sinker, and I can see you at all these events, at all these places, with all these faces, you're not undercover. That's not undercover. The only thing that you would think of it as undercover is because you don't see them necessarily, uh, kind of low key in it. But if you pay attention, they do. They do. Um, Usually it gives itself away in some form or fashion. because they get bought and paid off to speak on certain things. That's what gives it away. I told you the company they keep is what gives it away. You know, it's one thing when they say they having these rappers come over to their house to have conversation, the so-called hip hop summit. However, when they bring them over, they know what the agenda is. They don't have any morals in terms of what they accept with them. Let me say this. If I'm a so-called minister and I'm a so-called person in that situation, right? How am I going to have association with someone who calls black women out their names or black men out their names, disrespect on vinyl, and then I'm going to sit there and grin at you? I told you all the time, who you're married to does not make you black, because you are still black in your uniform, regardless of who you with. The biggest sellouts are usually the ones that are together because they didn't sold their souls. That's just the front because they with somebody. Does it make anything different? I mean, look at OJ, for instance. He was married to a black woman at first, and everyone was hollering, tapping, dancing. Think about it. So, that don't really mean anything. I tell you before, in my day and times, I didn't been around skillet black folks together, and they despise their shade and despise what they see. They want it to be crossover. And again, don't let it fool you. It's your actions and what you speak on and what you do. Charcoal black, Seal, like Seal the singer black. And they will talk and talk at you like you're darker than them. Look at you crazy. You're being for a rude awakening with that. So it don't really mean anything. Oh, they the worst. They the worst. Cause sometime I come across some Africans out here and I'm like, what's up? And a couple of them be cool, but some of them be looking at me crazy. It ain't because I'm wearing a mask or where I'm at. It's just because they don't identify. Cause some of them in their mind, they ready to tap dance for the massa. It be like that for real. You gotta let them know that you don't dance. But they dance though. So you be if you ain't used to it, you be in for a real surprise. People don't understand. But our experiences is different though too. But they're not, you know. Yeah, Willie D did it and Two Raw did it. Um, I might touch it. I don't know if I want to do a video on it. It's a very touchy subject. I told you I'm very polarizing with him. A buddy of mine who was a big Kobe fan, as a matter of fact, the night before Kobe died, he asked me the night before, I kid you not, I'll swear on the Bible. He said, what did I think about him? Do we really know him? Ironically, talk about spooky. Kobe's a very polarizing dude, yo. Very complicated cat. Yeah, they fake with it. They fake with it. He was a great player, very educated, fluid, etc., and almost like a precursor to what the NBA became. But that don't mean that he was easy to comprehend. The whole thing with him and Shaq was a divide, and I was Team Shaq. No, and I will tell that anywhere. And I don't think Kobe is one of the five or so greatest players ever. I don't know if he's quite in my top 10, but I will say this. Oh, I do got him over LeBron, so he's in my top 10. But you know what I mean. I wasn't, because I think that it could have been even better with him. I think he did some things on the court that turned me off. On the personal side, it kind of speaks for itself. You know, there was two sides to him. I think that he had a lot happening so much so fast so soon. You know, so you know, I remember. Listen, I watched the Lakers. He quit in '04 in the game against Sacramento on the road. He pouted when Phil called him out. That's the reason why I can't have him in my top 4 or 5. Talent wise, yes. Him as a raw body of work, no, no, no. He was stuck up the butt and he was selfish, and I had issue with some of his choices. And I hold that I do have to deduct. And no, Shaq was better than him in peak prime. I remembered that series because Steve Nash and them came back and won. I remembered very well. And see, a lot of people romanticize because he got the rings with Paul Gasol. A lot of stuff gets kind of forgotten. He brought a lot of hardship on himself. He did. He didn't get out the first round until they got Paul Gasol. So he was horrible in that series. He sat there and let Tayshaun Prince and them do back traps on him. And he didn't want to pass to Shaq, and he was acting indifferent. And of course he had his mind on the case and all that, but he played horrible in that finals. He did hit the game winner in game 2, and sometimes people let that slide, but he sucked in that finals. He was deplorable. And I remember very well. So Shaq played great. Like he would have been the MVP again. He was the best player on the floor for him. Karl Malone was older and he got, his body was he did as well as he could, but he couldn't do nothing against that team at that stage. Um, they trapped really well, and they didn't allow Derek Fisher and Rick Fox to get off. Kobe was, they sunk in like a ship. The bench was better. They out hustled him. They outworked him. That's what it was. I mean, Shaq still did 26 and 14, but can't do it by yourself. And they really didn't have any, And Gary Payton was getting ate up by Chauncey. He was in the wrong system, got ate up. So that's why I was mad at Kevin Garnett, because one of the worst things that happened to the Lakers is how quick they beat the Timberwolves in that. But so what's up? Yeah, I know what he's going through with that crap that JJ Redick said. Oh yeah, I get down with spicy food, no doubt. Um, JJ Redick is offensive. He's a comedian. He's a clown. It's embarrassing at this stage. 90s basketball was a lot physical, uh, and they did things differently. And I'm gonna tell anybody, this is why I don't like ranking greatest players or this, because every era has a different system. Now, the reason why I say that is I'll exclude the 60s and the 70s, 56, 70s. But when we get to the 80s, especially after Magic and Bird came, I'm not a big hockey fan. They don't have enough black folks for me. I watch it. I pull for the Sabres or something, but I'm not big on hockey. He's bought and paid for, Ted. You know this. He's bought and paid for. You do know. Just like Shannon Sharp bought and paid for. I don't care when you're born. If you work on them plantations, that master tell you to say that the sky is green, they'll say the sky is green. It's what they want. You got to say what they want. Cats be lying all the time. That's why they bring a head like Keyshawn Johnson sit there and talk that babble. They're not talking about real things. They're talking about what's scripted. They have an agenda to sell. Yeah, but he has to. That's why he got a job. I don't care. I mean, I can watch an action film, romantic film, comedy movie, horror. If it's good, if it's classic, I'll watch it. I don't really have no, sci-fi. Depends on my mood. I mean, I can watch The Godfather like I watch E.T., like I watch Coming to America. Okay, that gives you an example. Can watch Animalville Horror or Carrie, like I'll watch Saturday Night Fever, like I'll watch uh, Cooley High. I mean, yeah, or The Graduate or Taxi Driver, so. But see, Shannon has to do that though. That's how he keeps his job. Remember when he left? Yeah, she was. Remember we talked about that too. Remember when he left Skip? That Shay Shay was held and they didn't allow Shay Shay show to come out. So this stuff is ran in control, yo. I remember. I watched the movie too many times. You talking about an ET aholic over here. I watched that movie so much I used to go and get Reese's Pieces. And I got a funny story because when I was a kid, my mother actually let me go to see R rated. I forgot what movie it was. And I lied. I went to go see ET again. I loved it. That's how much I loved ET. Identify with it. It was one of my favorite movies. Elliot, I'm Elliot. Ouch. Sometimes I use that ouch part when someone says something cold and makes me laugh. I go, ouch. So, but yeah, he has no choice. You know why? Because losing Shannon Sharp, and he don't want to lose his job. Now, when he gives his all-time top 10, he's accurate, which I agree with. Was top 10 for the most part. Except you got to have Steph Curry in that top 10, though. I'm sorry, you got to have Steph in there. But anyway, but he has to slurp because LeBron is big business for these networks. I mean, that's what they want. They have to do what they got to do. And I think they're besides themselves because they have to. It's kind of like you watch a blowout game and guys start talking about other stories and stuff. They don't really care about the NBA playoffs without him. They do kind of miss Steph, but without them both there or no Durant, yeah. And it's going to be tough for them to identify unless Boston wins. That's what they want. What they want is Boston to win. Then they want to give Jason Tatum. He's the American savior. They don't like jokers because he don't sell no TV. Giannis don't sell no TV either. I'm telling you, the only oh yeah, it is going by faster. And once you get out of high school, it feels even quicker. The only foreign cat that they want to get behind is Luca. And before you mention Shea, they like his skills, but Luca's the one. Okay. Yeah, it does go by fast. I mean, in a way, sometimes it don't feel like it, but then it feels like it. They better. They better. They better because if they don't beat Milwaukee tonight, they'll lose that series. They better. But I don't have no hope for. Ted asked me this. I tell you, some of these playoff series, I could care less. That's one of them. I could care less. Teams ain't showed me nothing. They playing like exhibition. Nobody stands out. Indiana don't play no defense. If they played a lick of defense, I might say they could be a threat to something. Play no defense. And they got potential to have something, but they just don't play no defense. In Milwaukee, they don't get along. They have no chemistry. And they too dumb to understand that you should be able to beat Indiana without Giannis and Dame. Yeah, you should. You showed it the other night. You've been calling about 7 games. How your 7 game predictions going, Ted? How does that working? Last time you said 7, how that work? You've been wanting a 7 bad. Yeah. Um, Indiana should finish them out tonight. Doc's not a good coach no more. He's just a dude that's a warming up a seat. Cause I can so see him losing. Pretty much. You always be hollering about a 7, and then your predictions don't come into fruition too much. I mean, you hollered that about the Lakers and saw that turned out. I mean, nah, man, none of these series should be no 7 game series, if you want my opinion. But there probably will be one or two, sad to say, because these teams is garbage. They don't know how to finish people off. I mean, Milwaukee, Indiana, that should be a wrap tonight. That should be. If New York beats Philly, then they got a chance to be a problem in the East. But if they let the thing go 7, you had that coming to you. Shoot, everybody, you tell your barber, I said, what's up? Because I'm going to tell it like this. Tell your barber, look, unless Adam Silver and the refs got involved in it, which they tried to do, which I be saying, people don't like it when I speak that truth. The refs and Adam Silver, the bookies, they tried to get Jokic's brother thrown out, tried to get Jokic suspended. All they was coming with all kinds of things. You should have tried to kidnap Jamal Murray. That's what you should have done. But yeah, you have it coming. So you ask yourself why people hate LeBron. You know why. They don't hate him because they don't respect his talent. They just can't stand him because they know that it's fakery going on. I had a buddy of mine in LA who's a Laker fan, by the way. And he told me about a month ago, I said, what you, he said, I ain't wasting, I'm not watching them. Told me that. Told me that before the series started. Just so you know. Said he wasn't even wasting his time with him because he had no belief in him. And he looked like a genius right about now because he ain't waste his time with none of them games. I agree. If everything is actually right, well, that's your personal problem. I wouldn't do it. Why? His son is gonna be a couple years before he could even play, if he can make it. And you got an old busted situation where you're one good fall away, or 80's a good fall away. You hate your coach. You got to make moves with that team. You can't run it back with that team. You just can't. I heard Spencer Dinwiddie put his house for sale too. That's what I heard in Calabasas. So if you care to know. You always give me the news, read all about it, flashes. So I don't know what that'll mean to you. Because Kobe Bryant was a lifer. Because Kobe Bryant had won back-to-back rings. They went to 3 straight finals. And he was there with Shaq. And then he stayed. LeBron's a drifter, and LeBron's not really a real Laker. And also, Kobe was winning, was doing things with not half the talent. He didn't have no AD. After Shaq, he won with Gasol, who's very good. He ain't AD level talent. Stop me if I'm lying. Also, he was a lifer there. LeBron's old. There's a difference when a cat came there as a kid and played 20 something, play almost 20 years. Shoot. You can't compare that to a dude that's old. No, they didn't. And Shaq left after being there for 8 years because he came in '06 and left in '04. But the difference is that Kobe was there. And so you can't compare the situations. It's like Magic, you know, was there. Guys that are lifelong guys and they won and they willed the team. So it's no comparison. He quit on everybody. He quit on Miami too. His track record speaks for itself. People always want to slurp LeBron, don't want to hear the facts. His owner called him out and called him a quitter. Called him every name in the book. Now you go tell me about your so-called king. How's that the second greatest player, the greatest player, a top 3 or 4 or 5 player ever when your owner says you quit on us? I have no respect for you. Same owner came crawling between his head, between his legs. Did they win 60 plus games? Did they get to the finals? Was he a league MVP? If you answer yes to all three of those things, you have no case against me in this argument because he got in people's ways. He didn't let people prosper, and they had no glory in the situation. They weren't no bums. They weren't no scrubs. They weren't no used car salesmen. They went to our finals in '07. Yeah, they got swept by the Spurs, but they beat a Detroit Pistons team who was running the East post Miami. Okay? Tell the facts. And then his situation against Orlando, which they were in Eastern Conference Finals. He blew that. They were there. Then that was a 62 win team. Then he quit against Boston. There were no Uber drivers. And for the record, Shaq was like pushing 80. They still won 60 something games. He still was leading the team, but he quit on the team. I can name you other players who've carried cats to the finals. That's not the first guy. He still had a good enough team that was in the Eastern Conference Finals for 4 or 5 straight years. And they went to back NBA finals and won one. Talking about that Pistons team. They were. But they went against a better Spurs team. Sometime you do. But don't come here and play it off like he was playing with 15 Pookie Snows on his team, you know, like he was playing with uh, you know, cats that were like Spencer Dinwiddie's. He had a legit squad. You don't go to the finals by having a scrub scab team. Let's just get that straight. Things gotta fall in your lap, fall in your place. Um, I don't look at it like that. I don't look at it like that. I seen cats. He was horrible in that finals. Thank you. They were if they had gotten anything out of him because he went against better quality teams. You're gonna come here and argue against that? Losing to the Celtics in the '80s ain't like losing to the Orlando Magic or the Celtics of the '00s genius. It's not the same. Paul Pierce might be considered a great player, but Larry Bird was a great player. You see how I did that? Magic Johnson won a title in his early 20s. Now, I know you got had Kareem and everything, but he changed the culture. What's your point? Tim Duncan won a ring his second year. What's your point? Yes, Popovich and them dared him to shoot. As a matter of fact, if you when we want to talk about LeBron, and I can get real technical about deficiencies, we go up to the 2013, 2014 finals, especially 2013, where he was forcing those turnovers and they had that, they won that series. Popovich dared him to shoot from the perimeter. They dared him. They thought he was self-check. They dared him to score. Bird still won the second year, won. And he was in college, different situation. If all things are being equated equal, LeBron ain't seeing those guys. And Derrick Bird was a three-time champion, three-time league MVP, and three-time champion first decade or so of his career. Not quite a super team. Jamal Wilkes isn't considered one of the 75 greatest. Kareem, great player. Magic is the reason. Come on now. Give it up for Showtime. Magic came in and changed the course. It is the same. Different situation. Magic was a better floor leader, a better leader of a team. He changed the course of that. David Robinson, as great as he was, don't win without Tim Duncan. Duncan was a difference maker. And they did not have a stacked squad. They had a good enough, adequate team. And I like how the LeBroners want to come around and act like, oh, he's doing something so great, and how he did, like he didn't have the talent when he did win. Talk about that. Tell me, go ahead and try to downplay. He was a great talent, but to be considered one of the 75 greatest players, you had to be great, great. He wasn't like that. He wasn't going to be heralded like Bob McAdoo, who the Lakers got as a free agent later on. Okay, big difference. Silky Wilkes was nice. Sean Elliott ain't scaring nobody. He had that great shot on the river dance against Portland. I will give you that. But he was not a guy. He was a problematic dude. And actually, Sean Elliott's situation was almost precursor to Chauncey Billups, a dude who had been kind of dangled around until he finally found a good fit. And then it so happened to work out. But oh, yeah. Glad you mentioned Sean Elliott, you LeBron stands, because Sean Elliott came out and said Jordan was the GOAT. Complimentary player. I liked Avery, and I can go back with that. That was not a team that was scary. Duncan was a great player, period, and better than LeBron James, and I'll say it loud. Because Tim Duncan imposed his will, changed the course, and he was playing a position that was the most dominant position at the time. Because if you're a power forward between the Barkley and Karl Malone, and then we got this man named Kevin Garnett and others to come, Duncan steered the wheel. And then we go forward to when Parker Ginobili came. Well, at that time, that was Tim Duncan. But he wasn't winning. He wasn't winning. I know how great Dave Robinson. Dave Robinson is one of those guys that we have a top 10 centers. He's going to be at that lower case, 8 to 10. Great talent, fundamental dude. But I don't mind because I have to deal with him. Oh, wow. They know you had to be cheating. But anyway, the guy could play different positions, could handle the rock inside out. Shaquille O'Neal called him the big fundamental. Now you tell me a more distinctive nickname than that. Do you realize when someone says you the big fundamental, do you realize what that says about your skill? He didn't cheat the game at nothing. He was legit. But if we're gonna play that game, what about your boy Anthony Davis? Ain't he a center or power forward trapped in a guard's body and mind? But we're gonna play that game. We don't really want to play that game. Because AD don't never want to play a big. He wants to fade and flaw and frail back. If it was left up to AD, he'd stand on the perimeter half the day and he ain't dunking. We don't want to play that game. But he was called Tim Duncan 2.0. Yes, he did. because Paul Pierce was the truth was coming up with big plays, and Dwayne Wade had flashed like a camera, but he called Tim Duncan the fundamental. And do you realize that's what you play basket for? He is scared to play center. He's scared to keep his behind in the box. No, I'm bringing this up because you want to come here and try to say Duncan was a center who cheated the game of power forward. And that's what Ted just brought you about AD. So if you're going to come here and use that, I'm going to counter that with this. We'll turn this into a courtroom. We're going to turn this into a cross exam. You brought that up, so AD becomes fair game for that because that's who his game would mirror, a Tim Duncan 2.0, inside out, a guy who's supposed to be a center who wants to cheat and play a power forward. But in AD's case, he really wants to be a shooting guard too sometimes, or a small forward. Let's keep it 100. Well, at least you said something that I co-sign. But that's who he would be mirrored to be. Because if you go by his ball handling skills, his rebounding, his shooting, his defense, his skill set, I disagree. I disagree. He don't cook no Tim Duncan. How you gonna cook a guy that's 5-1 in the finals, multiple league MVP, dominant? Listen, I loved Elijah Wan, and maybe arguably in my lifetime, because Will Chamberlain was before my time. But I'll say this: skill set, the Jordan of centers. With all due respect to Will, but he was not that type of dude. He's a better winner, a better leader than Hakeem. Yes. He wanted to beat him and he said he wanted all that smoke. But he didn't get to finish because his teammate held him back. That's the problem. Especially in game 2. He should have had 40 or 50 points. I won't forgive AD for that series. He didn't speak up. He let Clutch Sports dictate him. That's what he get. He does. He's a better winner. Will Chamberlain was a better dominant player than Elijah Wan. He led the league in assists. Look it up, okay? They changed the game because of Will Chamberlain. Nothing changed of Elijah Wan. Elijah Wan got incredible juke, moves, skill set. But Will Chamberlain was a better overall force, period. Better rebounder, better scorer, better handles. Same amount of rings as Elijah Wan. And he went against a more dominant situation. Now, as great as you can say, and Shaq was a puppy at the time. He didn't get to play him in his peak to prime, so we'll never know how that would have turned out. Elijah Wan beat Patrick, and he got Shaq at that time. We'll never know what it would have been like 5-10 years. They both at their peak prime. But how many of them years before? How about them years when Hakeem didn't do nothing and was trade bait in Houston? Because he was trade bait. As a kid, he did. He didn't do it when Shaq got to his peak in his prime. You're going off of 95. You ain't say nothing about 205. You ain't say nothing about when the years went on, especially when Shaq was dominant. Hakeem was never dominant like that. I saw him in the 80s with Ralph Sampson, and they did go against Boston. They lost. And then he spent a few years in Houston, hitting some stats, but he was trade bait. They seriously considered trading him to the Lakers because it wasn't working. He did not, and Kareem was what? 68. Come on now. Do better than that. Do better. He got David Robinson in 95. No lie. But I'm talking about a man that was actually open to being traded a few years, just not that long before 94. Actually, we go up to 93, 94. They was considering trading him. He wasn't perfect. No one ever said he was perfect. His talent was his footwork, his movements, the dream shake. I'll give you that. But his game was not perfect. He didn't put no fear in no other center. I will give you what he did. but it's not like it was a body of work that we sit here day in and day out. And he was very fortunate back to back years against those Phoenix Suns. Because for all his so called greatness, right, it took Mario Elie, Sam Cassell, Robert Ory, Kenny Smith to hit some big shots, and Vernon Maxwell, and then Clyde. So before we start romanticizing something, and I don't know if you were around, I was around. Let's not get this all romanticized where we start acting like this dude. Well, that's what I've been said. I said mediocrity. I didn't even have to see that to know there'd been mediocrity. What do you think 3 straight years of being a playing tournament team means? Vernon Maxwell wasn't no bum. I know, but Vernon Maxwell wasn't no bum. You might want to retract that. And Robert Ory sure as heck ain't no bum. So who you talking about? That Rocket team wasn't memorable in the sense that they had a lot of game sevens and a lot of this, but it wasn't like some bum franchise that he was the now you want to talk about something like that. I can bring up, yes, Sam Cassell was legit. Maxwell wasn't okay. You don't know about Vernon Mad Max. Maxwell was one of those guys that Michael Jordan felt gave him a headache. You don't know about Maxwell. Maxwell, it's because of his antics and stuff. I would say Maxwell was, but he wasn't no bum. And he was better than okay. He was good. Ori hit big shots then. They were very lucky in those playoffs back to back years against Phoenix. They were at deficits. They were very fortunate. It took a lot of three balls and a lot of things to go their way to get to the finals back to back years. There was not a member, but they played hard. They stayed consistent. That's what got them over. They caught a lot of breaks. They caught breaks in that Orlando series. Nick Anderson missed those 4 free throws, and Kenny Smith hit that three. So let's not act like they didn't have things go their way. They were what you call a rabbit's foot and shoestrings and a hop that worked their way. But no one is sitting around talking about, and he was a great player. Look, I told you before, I lived in Houston. I know about Olajuwon. Wasn't no bum. He came up big in the playoffs. Vernon Maxwell, too. Was a good player for Houston. Not great, but good. That's not a team that you would sniggle at and want to have to deal with because they actually were quite quite a feisty team. But they did catch breaks. But most teams that win catch breaks. He was legit. Now I remember making him legit because of slam dunk contest in '90 against Dominique, because I still think he won that one against Sneak. I do. Because Kenny used to have some spring in him. Yeah, we can call him a third tier type of guard if you want him and what have you, but he was legit. He could play. Vernon Maxwell was nobody's. That dude was tough. Okay. I'll tell you what's more impressive than Hakeem's winning was Dirk Nowitzki in 2011. What about that? Mr. LeBron Slurper. And I am a Heat fan, by the way. But let's talk about that one. If you're going to go like that, must be. But Dirk Nowitzki's run was more impressive than Hakeem's. And we're going to keep it 100. We're going to keep it 100. The only thing you cooking is yourself, because you're going to be like Richard Pryor. You're going to be burning yourself up down the street. You think you cooking. You are chasing fool's gold. You ain't talking to somebody who don't know. It always takes things to people to win. What's your point? The guys are still the main guy. I could say Akeem may have had the better career. You can make that case. However, Dirk had less to work with. Barrera, Barrera, you remember 5'6" Barrera, like the white version of Spud Webb? Did I miss something? Come on, Ted, help me out. LeBron averaging 8, couldn't even get to the fourth quarter. I heard all the jokes. I am a Heat fan. What happened? Barrera? Really? Jason Kidd was an old man. He beat them Heat. He had arguably the toughest run to the finals to win a chip. Thank you. But Jason Terry was not a pro. Oh, Vernon Maxwell was better than Jason Terry. You can make the case. Go Google it. Go make that happen. They still shouldn't have beaten Miami in the finals. And Dwayne Wade was the best player on the floor for the Heat. Don't forget that. I know what Tyson Chandler did, but I do know that Miami blew that. They had a 2-1 lead. And Dwayne Wade, they were showboating. I remember. And they got right what they deserved. And LeBron did not show up. It's two different eras, though. But to sit there and act like Vernon Maxwell wasn't tight. He did what he was supposed to do in that finals. That's a fact. That was an upset. Houston beating New York and Orlando was not an upset. Dallas beating Miami with the big three was a huge upset. I can say that as a Heat fan, and I can drop the mic. Well, if you were born in every era in the NBA encyclopedia, then you're trying to downplay what I just said about Dirk. And if you are, you know it usually takes a 1-2 punch to win. But that same argument you can make for Olajuwon, I can make for Dirk winning. Because they always try to find a way to act like he does it all. They always act like he does it all. If he's so great, if he's so all around, how come he can't figure out Jokic? Make it make sense. He can't figure it out. Because it's the same thing, just two different positions and sizes, but it's the same all-around game, triple-double. Make it make sense. While you lose 8 of 9, 12 of 13, make it make sense how one man has got you wrapped up. Make it make sense. Because it's not an age thing. It's a style thing. It's how you're able to do everything. Somebody comes along, they can better compartmentalize than you can. No one ever says it about Olajuwon. They love him. There are some people who love Olajuwon. I think a skill set, but he wasn't Jordan. If you ever read Wilt Chamberlain, who's running the asylum, he even talked about that about Olajuwon, about his shortcomings. And look, I liked Olajuwon a lot, but he wasn't and he was talent-wise, I can make a case. Putting it all together is a difference. But boy, it got live here tonight, though. I don't think so, because I look at him as like the Barry Bonds, Babe Ruth of basketball. His stats and his dominance speaks for itself. I mean, the man was an incredible talent. And sometimes you don't have the pieces around you. You got to have the pieces. Yes, I did. But he also had, sometimes when he had a great crew of teams, he had two of the greatest teams ever, too, that won championships. It was tough. I like how you're going, J. Will, because you're gonna make Will Chamberlain sound like James Harden, and I'm not going for that crap. And what's your point? LeBron didn't play with D Wade, Shaquille O'Neal, Chris Bosh, Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis. Those are all Hall of Famers. Ray Allen, a league MVP, and Derrick Rose. I mean, it's not like, you know, shot to pieces. And how? How was he shot to pieces? He dominated the game. He owned the league for nearly half a decade. Well, that's after the fact, but he had 4 rings. He went to 6 finals. He did a 10-year window. You had to go through Shaq, the last man to three-peat. What's your point? And from his Orlando days to his Heat days, you had to deal with him, especially when he had the right coach, right system. I don't care who you mention. If you don't have the right pieces in place, you ain't winning jack. If you don't have the right format to complement what you're going to do. When Shaq got someone like Field, remember, Shaq took an Orlando team and they went to the finals. Raw bone. He got some, and he was going to Eastern Conference Finals. Well, he was, but you see, that's past tense. But they still won 60 plus games. You can't make that go away. So you can sit here and say what you want to say. They still won 62 games. That's when actually winning something like that was a big freaking deal. That wasn't until Golden State did the 73. Bob Hill may as well be Benny Hill to some people. Nobody cares about Bob Hill. Wore nice suits. He wasn't no coach to no Shaquille O'Neal. He took a cat that was unknown and went to the finals with. You saw what happens when Shaq got coached by Phil Jackson and Pat Riley. Did you see that? 4 chips out of 5 appearances. Big difference. That's what that kind of talent, you put that kind of talent with that type of coach, he's going to stay in jewelry. That's what happened to his career. That's what I'm talking about. You look at players, options, systems. That's how we go about it. The triangle did wonders. And it does make a difference what kind of system, what kind of teammate you got, structure you got. It's the whole nine. So how did he get destroyed? Did he not win 4 rings, 5 trips? Did he have to go against Jordan when he was in his peak in his prime? Did he have to go against Hakeem Olajuwon when he's peak in his prime? See, you're talking half truths. Now, Shaq came along when Jordan had won his 2nd ring, and he won his 3rd, then he did a little retirement. He came back. I don't want to see that, Ted. I hope not. That's not good. Okay, we just talking the 90s. What did I tell you about Bob Hill? They did beat the Bulls, even though it was in a limited capacity with Jordan, with Horace Grant. Why did the Bulls have to go get Dennis Rodman? Make it make sense. You want to come at me with facts? Bring that. They don't get Dennis Rodman. They don't beat Orlando. Horace Grant goes with Shaquille O'Neal and Penny. They build that team. They get to the finals. They don't get Rodman, and they stuck with Bill Winningham, Luke Longley, and I can't think of the other white boy right now. They ain't getting out. They not getting out. They had the 3-headed. Let's do your facts. You want to talk your facts? Let's talk that talk. They created the 3-headed monster to attack Shaquille O'Neal. That's what it was. Give up fouls and body. That's what it was about. If they don't do that, they don't beat him. Thank you. The point is the Bulls were a better team in said situation. Most guys in the NBA takes a couple years or so to do something. I know that. And that was one of the most lopsided deals. That's back when you could make a cornball one-sided trade because Rodman was considered a pariah and Will Purdue was a joke. But because Rodman was seen as such an outlandish and a joke, that's why that was able to happen. It wasn't based on anything but as a clown fair. But Rodman was special. But the point of the matter is this: when Shaq had the legit forces and teams around him, you got results. Yeah, unless he's Jason Sehorn, I don't know. If he got some speed and he's got some wheels, depends on what they running. I have to look at them to really evaluate. Last year they got 8 up in the secondary, so it didn't matter if you were green, grape, black, blue, brown, whatever you were, you're getting bronzed in the secondary. So I don't know. I don't know. Philly didn't look good. They couldn't tackle worth nothing. Um, you remember that game against Tampa? Well, who they got knocked out with in the first round? Philly got knocked out by who in the first round? Because they was tackling horrible. They were horrible in that playoff game that they lost the first one. They couldn't even play flag football, let alone tackle. So I can't really make a head to cut. I can't even say nothing about the kid till I get to see what he's doing working with. But they sucked last year, especially after that. After okay, yeah, that's what it was. Because I remember Mike Evans dropped that one bomb, but they had a couple plays where they couldn't even put a finger on nobody. They were brutal. And I told you after that game, they talked all the smack against the 49ers. They got smacked around. They just they quit. Their body language was defeated. So yeah. Um, yeah. Well, we don't talk about Dallas too much. Y'all just got Ezekiel Elliott. I did a video about that. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Y'all desperate for something and y'all don't know what the heck y'all doing. Got the wrong head coach, a tired, played out owner, and a quarterback who's just never going to be and never was. And even though the NFC is watered down and he's by default maybe with the third or fourth best quarterback there, you're still many rows back. You're not a threat. I'm going to stay a hater because I'm going to call it what it is. Sure. I'm a hater, huh? What happened against Green Bay? The cameraman's the only one that saw that tight end that was 30 yards down the field. I'm a hater, huh? What happened to your old secondary? What happened to Micah Parsons? Where you at? Jordan Love up there looking like Aaron Rodgers. Got Jordan Love up there looking like he's Mahomes. Throwing on the back foot. Be sitting back there eating a sandwich and then throwing the ball over his shoulder. Just ate y'all butt up. I'm a hater, huh? Nearly put a 50 burger. Should have put a 50 burger in your stadium. I'm a hater, huh? Yeah, okay. Shh, thank you. Tore y'all behind up. From a Cowboy fan, I don't say nothing to nobody. You stuck with Meathead McCarthy. Good luck with that. Finding 99 ways to get beat every year in the playoffs. How come Dak always gets awards in February, but he ain't never playing on the field in February? How does that work? He's the neighborhood man of the year. He's the safety marshal man of the year, but he don't ever get to play in February. Why is that? Find ways to lose. That's probably why they slurping and sucking now. Buffalo, and I will be honest with you, Josh Allen underachieves. We underachieve. We are not cut out to be Kansas City. We're not really cut out to be Cincinnati. We got a coach who doesn't know how to coach up the talent. And the same thing I just got through telling you about Shaquille O'Neal or Michael Jordan, until you put a top tier, know how to win head coach, we're going to underachieve with Josh Allen. Because the bottom line is you gotta have ego to match ego. That's why Andy Reid, Mahomes, you got to have ego to match ego. You can't win based on one side. It has to be both sides. So nobody likes the Raiders. Okay, please, nobody. Nobody's gonna take that. Nobody's gonna take that jump. I like Antonio Pierce. You know, and I'm gonna be real with you. I think the Raiders can be a nice 8-10, 7-11 team. I'll give them that. 7-10, 8-9. I'll give them that. But they need a quarterback. They need a bet off a secondary. What bad coaches did he win with? Do tell. I want to hear this lie. Do tell. Please tell me this lie so I can eat you up on this one. Do tell. I want to know who these bad coaches are. Do tell. I'm listening. And I got 10 minutes before I go eat too. Tyronn Lue can coach. Matter of fact, FYI, get your facts straight. That's who the Lakers wanted to have. No one cares about that, Ted. No one cares. And I don't even know why they brought him over. Tyronn Lue was what the Lakers wanted. That's who they wanted. Ty Lue can coach. No one's asking to be no Phil, but he did do good in Indiana. He wasn't much in Orlando, and obviously he saw with Phoenix, but he did get your little bubble ring. Don't get amnesia now. He's not meant to be Phil. He didn't choke. He didn't show up. Tell the truth. Choke is when you couldn't hit nothing. He did his usual postseason game. You know James Harden. He's either all in the game or he's at the club. You should know this by now. That's the Harden you get. Like Charles Barkley said last night. Charles said it best. He said, what Harden does got me ran out the league. I've got the Nuggets, but I think it's going 7. But I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota could win it either. I think they're the 2 best teams in the West, and it ain't close. No disrespect to OKC and Shea, because Shea can shut me up. But to my money, this is the real finals. Yeah, to me, this is the best teams in the West. Heavyweight. There's nothing in the East that's matching this. Please tell me. Who? What? What? Who cares? Who cares? They should. Because if Embiid and Maxxx get anything out of Tobias Harris and Kyle Uber, they can beat New York. New York is just beating them with guard play. And Brunson's got to score like 30 for 40 points. So that's not really no big eye opener. They should. They should win the series, actually. Nick Nurse is a smarter coach than Tibbs. I saw James Harden's line, and I saw Paul George last night. They're doing what they missing him badly, but they need a cherry picker. They need somebody who could just score 25, 30 points. That's what they're missing. That's what they're missing. There's no easy buckets with the way they play. So, and they are not a smart team. Well, yeah. Some of them got hurt feelings, though. Tell the truth. It ain't all just physical hurt. Some of it's mental hurt. Because Julius Randle be pouting. Dame's got hurt feelings. Jimmy been inconsistent and hurt. Embiid's got his situation, but he's got to demand more out of his team. And Giannis got a hurt ego right now. So There's a difference involved. It should be. Should be the only series I want to watch if you must know. I mean, no offense to OKC, but this is a heavyweight fight right here. This to me is heavyweight fight. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. This team's all due respect to OKC, these teams, I like to see them battle for the next 2 or 3 years to go to the finals in the West. That's how much I'm looking forward to this. That's this is as close as I've said that about in a long time. Because if everything is knocked out, dragged out, mano a mano, yeah. Because to me, it's criminal if these two don't rep. No offense to OKC. Again, shake and sway it, but it's sometimes you just know when you see something that's supposed to be marquee. They could win. They could win. I mean, if Anthony Edwards uses those two trees the right way, and you know, they he gets better with that, and everybody's healthy and motivated, that could be something special. I'm all with it because I think this is the best two teams to me. I know them slurpers in Boston going to slurp the Celtics, and there is nothing in the East to me. Philly, New York, Cleveland, Orlando, no, nothing. Yeah, they can be had because they don't play consistent. They and Porzingis don't play, and then their defense, and they're not going to get to play Miami in the finals. Shoot. And you did lose one game to a Miami team where Tyler Hero was busting your cakes. Bam got up on you. So there's a blueprint to beating Boston. I still don't see them winning without Udoka as their coach. I'm just gonna say 100. I think the coach is doing good, but there's something about them that always kind of rubs me the wrong way. So, but I do know the powers that be want Boston to win badly. And all that Laker love is really for the Celtics. Don't get it twisted. The fix is almost in too. You can almost tell what they're trying to do. Because if Tatum can win a finals, they give him a finals MVP, then they'll see to it that he gets a regular season MVP. And he will be their face for after LeBron. You know why Udoka will never coach the Lakers, not with number 23 there, so you can kiss that goodbye. That ain't gonna happen. They got real beef. Yeah, you put Hill's coaching with Giannis and Dame, they're coming out the East. And see, I told you, Adam Silver. See, even though we're in a more modern technological world, Adam Silver and them thought they were slick. Send them to Houston, nobody will care. They were 41 and 41. That man can coach with a bunch of kids. And he had your boy. So, you know, I mean, that's what's up. Well, it got heated in here. It got good. It got heated up in here. Yep. When she didn't even have nothing happen to her. Yep. How you get played like that? Put them in a Jimmy Hoffa situation. How that happen? They both did the dirt, but it's funny how one person gets caught holding the sheets. What's happening? What's happening, Tom? I'm getting ready to roll in just a couple minutes. I'm glad you came through. I'll be here for a few minutes, but I gotta go eat. But glad to see you. You know how it is. You know how it is. You mess with the wrong situation, they gonna make an example out of you. All right, now what's up? Glad to see you. Thank you so much. Of course they are. Why don't they just go ahead and make it a 20 game season while we're at it? No, that's inevitable. What they should do is just go ahead and do away with preseason. Make it 2 games, a scrimmage and 2 games. That'd be better. Make that thing 20. That's what you're gonna do. Because the NFL gonna do well, the NFL is the league that everybody loves, but the NFL is gonna do what the NBA is gonna do. They're gonna start making more stat padding that they can. Yeah, hit that like button. Appreciate it. Thanks, Ted. Appreciate that. That's what they're gonna do. Find more ways to water the league down. Yeah, they do. They got most times his eyes roll in the game. No one's ever rolled their eyes more in the game. They got all kinds of things to blow him up. But you know, we'll see. Well, Jordan Love didn't win it all. He got second round, but we'll see. I wouldn't have no problem if they won. I wouldn't have no problem to go to the show. I have no problem whatsoever. I don't have a dog in the race because I just think it's time for a new era of basketball teams and players to emerge. So I don't have no problem with it whatsoever. Oh, that's why I don't watch that whack network. I try to avoid it. What they call the 4 and 6. What you call that? That's the only stat line that matters. What you call that? What you call that 1 and 8 the last 2 years? That's the only one that matters. That 1 and 8. How's that 1 and 8? Let's talk about that 1 and 8. I know you could have hit your forehead and said I could add a V8, but how about that 1 and 8? 3 quarters, 75 cents. A 75 cent quarter short. Okay. I don't blame Tia for talking about the ESPN plantation. It's embarrassing. The slurpage that they do. It's just it's embarrassing. I mean, they just embarrass themselves. Yeah. It's embarrassing. That's why it's hard to even take them serious. That tells you all you need to know. When Kendrick Perkins be mean mugging, and you see what they do on that whack network. So anyway, I'm gonna get ready to roll. But appreciate everybody that came through. I've been on here for quite a long time tonight. Definitely come up tomorrow. I keep saying I'm gonna definitely kick it earlier though, but I will. And she was friendly, but she's it's bad. She's over there on with Skip, slurping and talking crazy. Whatever. I don't pay them no mind. They from pillar to post because they all bought and paid for. So yeah, well, you don't want to say nothing wrong. You don't want to get pimp slapped by your mama either. So I know what you're thinking though. I don't care about none of them though because they bought and paid for on them plantations. So I talk about all the time. Don't like none of them. Don't really try to mess with none of them. They're not even talking about the game. They're talking about some agenda. That's the sad reality. So, but yeah, I do got to get ready to roll. Been on for almost 2 hours, and I'm getting hungry. We had quite the run up here tonight. If you go through the page, you'll see what we went through. We had quite the combo tonight up in here. Thank you. We'll come back on early tomorrow because we'll definitely hit it up. All right now. So peace out. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay cool. Appreciate you. I'll see you. Thank you for everything. Right on.